Call to order this meeting of this Littleton City Council. Roll call, please.
Mayor Brinkman.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Valdez.
Present.
Councilmember Cole.
Here.
Councilmember Driscoll.
Here.
Councilmember Elrod.
Here.
Councilmember Fay.
Here.
Councilmember Schlachter.
In attendance.
Will you please rise for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We do have one change on the agenda. That is Diane McClemens from TLC Meals on Wheels won't be making a public appearance this evening. And Council, do you have any other changes on the agenda? Okay. Seeing none, then we will approve the agenda as published with that change. Now we're at the moment where public comment. So if you wish to address the City Council under public comment, please have signed in on the public speaker form before the call to order of the meeting. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes. City Council is not authorized by the Colorado Open Meetings Law to discuss, comment, or take action at this meeting on any issue raised by public comment that's not part of tonight's agenda. The mayor may refer the matters to staff to obtain additional information and report back to Council and the community as appropriate. First on the agenda, or first on the public comment, is Frank Atwood.
That's what I know it as. And also, could you? Thank you. Good evening, City Council. I assume during the resolution there will not be public comment at that time.
Correct.
Wonderful. First, my name is Frank Atwood, and I'd like my phone number is 720-260-1493. My wife and I are hosting this Friday evening a potluck party, potato party this Friday evening, September 20th from 6 to 8:30. And we'll call me for details. Again, my phone number is 720-260-1493. And another invitation is a voting method symposium Saturday, December 7th at 3435 Wine Coop to discuss voting methods, the last page you have on the handout. What I'd like to do this evening is focus on the approval voting resolution, and I feel the best argument for the approval voting resolution is City Council currently uses approval voting for selecting boards and commissions, also for reaching a decision at study sessions. And I feel there's, as we watch more factionalism and divisiveness in our country that's not being resolved by elections, that approval voting would help solve that. So thank you all, and look forward to it being resolved. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. Dan Radulovich.
Good evening. Rest assured, I am not going to talk about short-term rentals. What I am going to talk about is the co-responder program that was presented at your priority-based budget meeting a few weeks ago at the short-term rental study session a few weeks ago. For those of you that are unfamiliar with it, it's a program that allows a mental health professional to ride along with police officers during their shifts. Right now, it's approved for 16 hours per week. You're looking to extend it to 40 hours, and I will tell you that I fully support something like this, and I would love to see it fully funded. The reason I believe this is because officers are not really trained to deal with the mental health, even the mentally disturbed, whatever you want to call it. But they're asked to do this pretty much on every call that they go on. And really, they only have 3 options when it comes right down to it. First off is to arrest if there's been probable cause of a crime committed. That's fairly straightforward. The next is basically to do nothing because they cannot prove that a person is an immediate threat to themselves or others. Now, if they can meet that threshold, if they can articulate that, then they can place a 72-hour mental health hold on someone. And what that in effect is taking a person to a facility that they're not allowed to leave for 72 hours. Well, up to 72 hours based on the evaluation. Now, what can happen in those 3 days? A person is probably going to lose their job if they had employment. If there's children involved in the house, you're going to get social services involved pretty much almost immediately. A lot of people have family members that check on them all the time. Parents, spouses, cousins, uncles, what have you, aunts. Those people are going to be extremely worried if they can't get a hold of their loved one for 3 days. I believe this program has the potential to stop some of this. It's actually going to be able to get involved before you get to that threshold of immediate threat to themselves or others. I think that's where the real power is to get it involved early and to not get to that level. But it can also get involved at that level as well and possibly do some other things rather than basically detain someone for up to 72 hours with no crime being committed. This is something that's been in Colorado state statutes for a very long time, and there are times where it is warranted where a person really needs that level of help. But I do believe that sometimes that can be avoided through programs like this. And lastly, as Chief Stevens pointed out, he said that there's going to, given the political climate around mental health and gun control at this point, I think you're going to see, I agree with him, and see that you're going to see a lot of federal funding for this particular program. And if we already have a system that's in place and that is successful, you can help even more people because you'll get bumped up on that list to get more of that federal funding. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Linda Newfinke.
Good evening. I'm going to talk tonight about South Metro Housing Authorities, properties that they have, and the impact it could have on the city. For example, this first slide here shows 4 properties on Weaver and Stern Parkway. They were built in 1976. They have an average county appraised value of $218,373. The total appraised value is $873,492. All are 2-bedroom, 1 bath, except for one house is 3 bedrooms, 2 bath. The average acreage is 2.2095. And here are 8 properties on Lake Street, and this is right next to the Bemis Library. And I can foresee they might want to put 3 really tall apartment buildings. I mean, the potential uses are infinite. Again, the average appraised value is $267,515. The total appraised value is $2,141,120. It was built in 1983. And then here is on Gallup and Forest Hill Road. Their ranches are bi-levels. They're built in 1976. It's on a beautiful parkland area. The total 2009 county appraised value is $229,121, and the county appraised value is $1.145604. So these are just 17 out of 71 properties. It is not known if these properties will be on the list for demolition, consolidation, purchase. Nobody knows that right now. And there are at least 5 more opportunities for consolidation, demolition of properties, maybe building high-density apartments. These properties all look like they've been well maintained. Again, some of these have lovely park atmospheres. And according to Littleton's housing studies, 54% of the total housing stock was built from 1979 and earlier. The units in the presentation were built in 1976 and 1983. So it's right in that area, and they're not old, that you have to destroy them right away. One thing to check is does this potential comp plan support tall apartment buildings in residential areas? If not, will the properties be required to be rezoned? And what does SHMO plan to do with these properties? And what is the plan? And is the plan realistic? And these are all questions I think you should be asking of SHMO. The bottom line that this is a significant policy change. Council should formally recognize this policy change through an ordinance. The policy changes Littleton Housing Authority, or SHMO, will no longer integrate housing units into the community and will only do this in certain areas of the town. So, and also, what do the neighbors think? So finally, know what's happening, understand what's happening, knowledge is power, and get the complete picture. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. That's all who's signed up. Is there anybody else who'd like to speak this evening? Pam?
My name is Pam Chadbourne. I live a block and a half from here in District 1 in downtown. I'm here to talk about the comprehensive plan and ask you to postpone it and extend the work on it. The process did not allow enough time for the public to understand this, much less to give input. And I'm going to say the city didn't help that process at all. The reason why is that the point of this project is not a document, folks, and I've said this to this body before. We're not here to make documents. Documents document what we decided, and we, the people, have never decided that we want downtown to be urban. Yet, this future land use declares that all of downtown will be changed to 3 types of urban use. And Gary Mitchell was very clear, this means buildings up to the right-of-way, out to the sides of the property lines, almost no setbacks. One of the 3 pie charts that are provided has about 5% green space and over about 80%, maybe more, of structure. Now, that is not the existing use. And I'll point out that the existing use survey showed some complexity of that area, and it was varied. There are 8 sub-areas. They're very different. The green amount there is closer to suburban residential in downtown. Now, to jump to urban for the whole area is a massive change, and I'm going to state to you now as a property owner in that area. This is a taking from me, and it is a taking from all of us downtown. We have not agreed to that. I was at Historical Preservation Board last night, and the IHOP owner didn't want his property listed on the list of merit. This was regarded as a violation of his rights. What you are contemplating is a massive violation of our rights, and I want you, those of you who have said, oh, this is good because of rights of developers, they have no rights. We have a current code, and that is our right. You may not take this from us. You do not have that right. You have the authority. You have the power, and that would be an abuse. So you can tell this is emotional. I think it's very important. If this product has merit, then let it stand on its merit. Extend the work. Let us understand it. At the end here, I want to talk about Chloe Wright. Chloe Wright passed away last month. You may recognize that she sat here with Lola almost every council meeting. She brought her friend Lola, South Park neighbor, and she witnessed what the council did. I will say at the end when I spoke with her, she asked the right questions. She wore red. I'm wearing red in honor of her. I just want to acknowledge her contribution by listening to council. Thank you.
Thank you, Pam. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Definitely.
Anybody else? Okay, we'll move to consent agenda. Consent agenda items can be adopted by a simple motion. All ordinances must be read by title prior to a vote on the motion. Any consent agenda item may be removed at the request of a council member. Resolution 46 is approving an intergovernmental agreement with Mile High Flood District to study Jackass Gulch and update the drainage master plan and floodplain delineation. Ordinance 22 is first introduction of an ordinance amending the Littleton City Code Title 10, Chapter 1, to establish enabling legislation and procedures for the creation, adoption, and amendment of a comprehensive plan. Resolution 44 is a resolution endorsing the framework plan for the Highline Canal.
Cool.
That's been pulled by Councilmember Cole. ID 19232 is approval of the August 20th, 2019 regular minutes. I need a motion to approve consent agenda items A, B, and D.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Ready to vote?
The vote is 7 in favor. The motion carries unanimously.
Councilmember Cole.
Yes, on the item that I pulled, I'm trying to read off my paper copy here. In the second paragraph of the now therefore section near the end.
You are on the resolution. Are you on the resolution?
Yes,
Okay. On which page?
I'm on the second page of
Okay.
the paper.
Which line?
The paragraph that starts at line 86,
Okay.
and so I read that, it's all one sentence. It currently reads, "Be it therefore resolved through endorsement of the plan that the City of Littleton agrees to preserve and protect the canal for future generations, work together and with the Highline Canal Conservancy and Denver Water to create a vibrant future for the canal that enhances life for people today and in the future." My concern is with the first part of that long sentence, that Littleton agrees to preserve and protect the canal, etc. That puts, in my mind, the onus on the city to preserve and protect. Them working together with the Highline is together work. But the first part, I believe, can be read legally that the onus is on the city to preserve and protect. And I would like to,
You'll need to make a motion.
yeah, I move to insert the word help after to, agrees to help preserve and protect the canal.
Is there a second?
I have a second.
We have a motion and a second.
Can I just ask council for you to just opine on this? Was that the intent that, so we alone could not do this? We alone could not preserve and protect, and so the intent of this paragraph that in conjunction with the Highline Conservancy and Denver Water, we would do that, correct?
I believe that was the intent, to work in conjunction with the other, roughly 12 other governmental entities that are a part of this.
Okay, so this, what Councilmember Cole is proposing is in the spirit of the intent.
Correct.
Okay.
I have a question for the attorney as well. We're just endorsing the plan that they're putting forward. We're not saying, we're not providing any plan, work plan for the city, are we correct?
Correct. As part of the plan, they've identified certain projects within the various jurisdictions in which they have set forth a priority in terms of working towards fixing those particular areas or conserving those particular areas. But endorsing this framework plan in no way binds the city to any particular items within the plan.
Councilmember Fay.
If we make a change, still to the attorney, if we make a change in this, does that change the nature of what they're asking us to do?
No.
Any other questions?
No, so can I ask, so what I'm asking is to add slight phrasing to prevent misreading in the future in that section of that. So it would seem to me that what I'm doing is adding some protection for people who don't know how to read. And having taught English, college English for 40 years, I know there are quite a few who don't. So adding something that tightly circumscribes that seems to me to our advantage.
I think the language that you've proposed helps clarify the intent of all the parties in terms of those working to be a partner in the framework plan.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. The motion is to add the word help to the line Littleton agrees to preserve and protect. Ready to vote?
Yep.
The vote is 5 in favor, with council members Brinkman and Schlachter voting no. The motion carries.
Okay, our next item is general business. This is Resolution 45.
Mayor, excuse me.
Oh, excuse me.
That was the amendment we passed. We have a main motion yet.
Oh, geez, I'm moving right ahead. Okay.
She's thinking
Yep.
3
We're-
meetings into the future.
Glad to see your awake, Mark.
Okay, so the main motion as amended is,
There isn't one, but
what?
We already voted on.
we had an amendment to the, we don't have a main motion.
Oh, we don't, oh, my goodness, I I guess I'm not paying attention. Okay, let's get a motion.
Mayor, I move to approve the resolution as amended, endorsing the plan of the Highline Canal, the new life for a regional legacy.
Second.
Okay, ready to vote?
Yep.
The vote is 7 in favor. The motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, council.
Smooth,
Takes a team.
smooth.
Takes a village. All right, now we're on general business. Resolution 45, 2019. This is requesting the General Assembly of the State of Colorado to explore amending Title I and Title 31 of the Colorado Revised Statutes so that municipal elections may be conducted using approval voting for nonpartisan elections. City Manager?
Just a kind of a brief description here. The city's election commission here passed a motion here recommending to our city council that they consider a resolution of this nature. We discussed it at a study session here a couple of weeks ago, so I placed it on the agenda here for council discussion and action. So other than that, if there's some questions, I'd be happy to try to explain.
Okay. Council, any questions? Need a motion, please?
I move to approve the resolution requesting the General Assembly of the State of Colorado explore amending Title I, Title 31 of the Colorado Revised Statutes so that municipal elections may be conducted using approval voting for nonpartisan elections.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Karina?
You know, as I had stated at the study session, it's not a concern about whether we should do approve voting or my position on it or not. I just don't think that this is something that we should be bringing up to the legislature. It's not something that I've heard be a significant point or issue or concern coming from our community. There are lots of things that our legislature is needing to work on. And so that's where my hesitation is there. My second hesitation was also really having the ability to look at this as a council of what our position is, because I just feel like we're kind of kicking it up to the state without us having done our diligence on this. So that is, again, the reason why even tonight I wouldn't support this at this time.
Thank you. Councilmember Valdez.
As mentioned earlier, when we do our boards and commission, that is what we do. It's essentially turned out to be approval voting. I think, however, this time to elevate it up to the state, I don't think it's ready for prime time coming from the city of Littleton.
All right, council ready to vote?
Well, I have a question for clarification. If we don't ask the state, can we decide to do it ourselves? I thought that was why this came before us, that we couldn't do it unless that was an option.
Right. I believe that the concern would be with the county clerk and recorder's office, that without the Secretary of State and the state legislature promulgating rules governing the approval voting, that they may decline to coordinate an election on a municipal level and certify and verify that.
Okay, ready to vote?
Yep. Where's where we going to
This, oh,
We haven't approved.
Clarify.
yeah.
I move to approve the resolution.
Yes vote approves the resolution and moves it to the General Assembly, and no does not.
The vote is 3 in favor, with council members Driscoll, Valdez, Brinkman, and Elrod voting no. The motion fails.
Okay, council, we have no second readings. We're on to comments and reports. City Manager?
Excuse me. Mayor, no report.
Good, because you have no voice. City Attorney?
Nothing from the city attorney's office.
Oh, darn it. Councilmember Elrod.
I have a couple of things. One, I got to go check out the way we play at the Littleton Museum on Saturday. They had some extra activities. It was actually really, really fun. Paul Bingham was part of the exhibition and his model plane.
You're playing with Paul?
No, But he tells you essentially what he played with when he was little. Cool. So it was really fun. There's a lot of interactive pieces to it, and those were a super hit with young and old. It was a little bit of it's hard to see, the year you were born in exhibits. So yeah, we'll just leave it at that. My son thought it was pretty funny himself. Second thing tomorrow night is Denver Regional Council of Governments executive session. They will be bringing forward proposition CC in consideration for transportation and education funding. From holding the Tabor funds. So that will be brought up to the DRCOG board for DRCOG to take a position of support or not. So that will be brought to vote tomorrow in front of the board. I will circle back with the council and let you know where that lands.
Thank you. Councilmember Fay.
On the homelessness front, the Tri-Cities Homelessness Policy Group has begun the first study of the Tri-Cities, and that is to study 45 families. That's groups of people who have children as part of their group. And then in about 6 weeks, a completely separate study will begin dealing with individuals who are homeless.
Do you have a kind of a timeline for those? How many months those will take?
It's expected that they'll take 6 to 9 months.
Okay.
Reality says, what?
Yeah.
Longer.
Yeah. Thank you. Councilmember Schlechter.
A week or two ago, I can't remember when it was, I attended the Next Gen Advisory Committee. They had a presentation from Lisa Hood, who is works for DRCOG, but is also a member of our Historic Preservation Board. She presented to the board, to the committee, about a young person advisory committee for DRCOG moving forward. There was some interest there. They were going to follow up after the fact, so that's good. They're getting involved. I also attended the Arapahoe County Transportation Forum 2 or 3 weeks ago. Coming out of that, the group appointed Jeff Dankenbring from Centennial, Public Works Director there, I think, to the DRCOG Transportation Advisory Committee. Also appointed 2 members to the Reimagine RTD Technical Working Group. One to the Advisory Committee, Tommy Maurer, from council member from Centennial. And then the Technical Working Group had Matt Callison from Aurora, and our very own Keith Reister stepped up to also work for the Reimagine RTD Technical Working Group. So it'll be good. And then the last thing out of that meeting was a discussion for a new county-wide funding source for transportation. That group is going to work with a facilitator to build agreement on advice, to provide advice to the Arapahoe County Long Range Planning Committee, which will then provide advice to the Board of County Commissioners. And the idea is to look at whether to seek a countywide funding mechanism for priority transportation, long and short-term need. All options are on the table for that, what that might look like if they're going to do something. But they also are keeping their ears and eyes open for other discussions by other groups, other counties, other regions, the state. So, but they'll be having discussions about that.
Thank you, Kyle. Councilmember Cole.
No comments.
Councilmember Driscoll.
Yes, just wanted to welcome Bank of Colorado. They are officially open and had their open house and ribbon cutting last week. So welcome, Bank of Colorado. That's it.
Welcome. Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Valdez.
2 things. Starbucks is open too. That was a big deal. That was a big deal in my neighborhood. So Saturday I did attend the Highline Canal Conservatory event. That was well attended. There was 11 jurisdictions that run on the canal somewhere, Littleton being one of those. It's as we all know, it's a 71-mile canal to the past. The group was established in 2014 to help maintain the trail and enhance the public use and bring awareness to the canal. As we know, well, there's over 500,000 people, 500,000 people that use the canal one way or another throughout the year. About 10 miles of it wind through the city of Littleton. And as you know, the canal, it will not be the same as it was anymore. I mean, there's trees that just won't exist because the water is not going to be running through it anymore. But the conservatory group, they do get volunteers. A few weeks ago, they were here in the Littleton and Centennial area, and they gathered over 600 pounds of trash just along the canal in that small area that they did. There's some interesting facts that the canal started construction in 1880. There are over 24,000 mature trees along the canal. Many of them just aren't going to survive without the water because the cottonwood needs water. There are over 450 plant species identified along the canal. The canal is home to 199 birds species, 28 species of mammals, and 15 reptile species.
Yeah.
They're good. They're good for the environment. Next Saturday, Chip Brunk, who some of us know, will be leading bicyclists along the full length of the canal. You don't have to do the whole canal, but you do have to sign up. So you have to sign up to do the ride, of whether you do it all or part. That's very important. Or you can sign up to volunteer to help keep the canal going. To sign up, you need to go to the email address, send them an email address. It is hello@highlinecanal.org. hello.highlinecanal.org. That's it.
Thank you.
Debbie, I have a correction. Can I
Okay.
do that?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm a member of the Highline Canal Working Group. We meet a number of times a year, and there will be, I just have to correct this, there will be water in the canal.
Water, yeah.
It'll come from storm runoff, and it'll be completely filtered before it goes into the canal. The canal will filter it further. The prediction is that there'll be water in the canal 100 days more than there was before, which was 2 weeks in the spring, 2 weeks in the fall, plus 100 days.
Good, good. So it's going to feed into Kittering then? Because that's what kept Kittering full, is the Highline Canal. It's my understanding that it's
I don't know that
it's not
detail.
actually going to run, because the Denver Water has decided that they're just not going to keep it up because of the
They're not-
leakage.
No,
No,
it's
Denver
going to
Water's
run.
not putting water in, it's a stormwater
Yeah,
program.
and there's going to be lots of tributaries and stuff coming in.
Yeah, it'll become from a lot of municipalities along.
Right, right. It's just not going to be the same as it was, though. That's all there is to it,
Okay,
sadly.
okay. Thank you, Jerry. You okay? You gonna be okay?
I don't know, ask Carol.
I'm done. We received, the South Platte Working Group has received the East-West Trails study. We'll be going over that next week, I believe. And as soon as the working group has blessed it, then I'll get a copy of that to everybody, and we'll get that in front of staff to get that kind of married up with the comp plan, because I think it's gonna validate a lot of the things that we've already discovered with the comp plan, and I think it's gonna maybe present some opportunities with the transportation mobility plan also. And that's it. No more comments.
I have one more. Actually, hot off the press, we got an email from Keith today. So they had applied for another grant with Dr. Cog, and we were awarded another $214,000. This is for the crosswalk and pedestrian improvements along the downtown light rail station for safety purposes. So, yeah, so a special shout out and thanks to Keith, of course, and Shane Roberts, Elizabeth Marchetti, Carl Ossinger, and putting together that request and getting that grant.
Excellent.
Really good.
Another grant.
Yep.
Keep them coming. All right, we're adjourned.
All right, cool.